Hi, in this video I'm going to discuss how to remove dependency on DOMReady. So first let's look at the application. So this is an application called Learn Academy which I'm working on right now. So here we have the feature where we have a question and we can select the answer. To give visual feedback to the user of which answer the user has chosen, we have this check mark. So now let's look at the code, how it is implemented. So here we have the whole code wrapped up in jQuery's DOMReady, and then we find out on the data behavior question choices, on these question choices, on click, we find out. So we have, if you look at the structure of the code, we have these are at a UL level, we have a class. We have a data behavior question choices, and then we have li and a. So what is data behavior? For the people who are not familiar with data behavior, I will put this link in the show notes. Basically, at Big Binary, we try not to have code which is dependent on something like dollar like this, because in this case what happens is that the class is being used to manipulate the code, and class is primarily meant for the presentation layer so that CSS can work on it. But we should not be depending on that, because if the designer changes the class, then the JavaScript code breaks. So in that blog, we have laid out why we use data behavior and how we use data behavior. So anyway, once we get the data behavior, so basically this is nothing else but selecting this element. So we are selecting this element, the UL elements, and then from the UL elements we are getting all the links. So we are getting on click, then find a, and then we do this function. So this code works. There's nothing wrong with this code, it works. However, there is one issue. The first thing is that since we are doing this kind of binding on all the A elements, so in this case we are doing the binding at this level. So this is okay. We are not doing 3 bindings, but we are doing only 1 level of binding. But there could be other scenarios in various applications where we need to where there could be a number of elements, and then we are doing the binding for all 10 elements or 100 elements or 200 elements or many number of elements. So in that case, what can happen is that the page will start becoming sluggish. And this is especially important in the case of single page application, where there is less opportunity for collecting the memory. In a traditional application, anytime I refresh, all the hanging memory is refreshed, but that will not happen in the case of single page application. So in those applications, it's much more important to use memory much more efficient. So here what we can do is that we can use the delegation behavior of on method, which is provided by jQuery. So what we can do is, rather than saying that, hey, find out all these elements, find this element, and on this element you do the binding, we can say that, hey, do all the binding at a document level, and anytime an element of this thing comes across, then intercept it. So what we can do is, here we'll do document dot on click, and this is where we need to put our code. So we'll say data behavior question choices. So after this we need to find one more element a, and then we can do function. So let's save this thing, let's refresh the page and then try it. So again the code is working. So this is great, the code is working. However, because we are binding at a document level, the one advantage is that we don't have to be in the DOMReady. Now this code should work even without the DOMReady. So the main idea what I wanted to discuss here was that we don't have to always have our code inside DOMReady just because we are doing manipulation with some data. The on method from jQuery is smart enough that it sets the binding at a document level, and when we click on the element, then it finds out if that element is matching with our criteria or not, and then the code works. And because of that, it takes less memory. We don't need to depend on the DOMReady, because in a complex application sometimes the JavaScript grows and the DOMReady is fired after 3-4 seconds. In this case, if the JavaScript code has already been parsed, then it can be start interacting with the user can start interacting with the element. That's it for this episode. I'll see you next time. Thank you.